I always thought coming back home would be like a sweet reunion, a chance to revisit old haunts and share memories with those who had watched me grow up. But nothing could have prepared me for what I found in Maplewood, a town that had somehow frozen in time. I arrived by bus late one autumn afternoon, the same bus that used to rattle me awake on chilly winter mornings during my youth. Stepping off, the familiar red brick buildings and well-worn sidewalks comforted me at first. Yet as I walked the main street, a nagging uncertainty crept up my spine. Every storefront and park bench was unchanged, immaculate in a way that defied the passage of decades. The once vibrant murals were perfectly preserved, and even the local diner, which I remembered from blurry childhood weekends, boasted the same neon sign, flickering as if waiting eternally for a customer. I greeted an old neighbor, Mr. Jennings, whom I remembered as a kindly man with a wide smile. His eyes, however, bore an unsettling stillness. "Welcome back, son," he said, patting my shoulder as if we were meeting after a brief absence. When I mentioned I'd been away for 20 years, his smile faltered. "Oh, no, you just left yesterday," he insisted, shaking his head with a puzzled expression. I bristled. "What do you mean, yesterday?" "I've been gone since I left for college," I countered, confusion mounting. Mr. Jennings only shrugged, as if my entire history had been erased overnight. The more I wandered through Maplewood, the more questions piled up. At the local cafe, I ran into my childhood best friend, Lucas, sitting exactly where we used to meet for endless hours after school. His demeanor was familiar, his laugh unchanged, yet he looked at me with the same vacant insistence. "I cannot believe you left so suddenly. It feels like you were just here as recently as yesterday." I received nothing but puzzled stares and gentle reprimands for memories that didn't quite add up. But nothing prepared me for the moment I saw him, the other me. One cool evening, drawn by instinct, I visited the old neighborhood park, where, as a boy, I'd spent countless hours on the swings. There, beneath the ancient oak tree where I'd once carved my initials, I glimpsed a figure. At first I thought it was a trick of the fading light, a face I recognized in the corners of my vision. Slowly, the figure stepped into view, revealing a man who looked shockingly like me, yet somehow unmistakably younger. His eyes held the gleam of youth, and his posture was relaxed, free of all the weariness that life had etched into my own features. My heart thundered as I realized this was me, the version of myself who never left Maplewood. I approached him tentatively. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice trembling with disbelief. The young man regarded me with a curious smile. "I'm you," he replied, as if it were the most obvious truth in the world. "I've always been here. I never left this town because I never chose to go." The word sent a ripple of dread through me. As a child, I had chosen to leave for exciting opportunities, to embrace the uncertainty of the big city and the promise of a new life. But here, a version of me seemed to have remained, a living testament to what might have been had I not left. That night, I retreated to my childhood home, the one I had sold years ago, to piece together the puzzle. I dug through old boxes, photographs and diaries, desperate to understand how the passage of time could erode my own timeline in such a disjointed manner. The letters I found from long-lost friends and family were dated with the day before my return, but the memories they described were inexplicably unaltered by the decades I remembered living outside Maplewood. Emails, postcards, and even local newspaper clippings sang a chorus of a town that hadn't aged a day, a hidden chronicle locked in a single moment, except in my memory. Over the next few days, I tried to engage both versions of my life. I reconnected with faces I once knew, each conversation laced with a cordiality that felt hollow, as if the residents of Maplewood were trapped in a loop, forever replaying their daily routines. Everywhere I turned, I was met with the same refrain. You left only yesterday. I began to suspect that perhaps the town itself was woven into some strange tapestry of time, where everything was preserved perfectly, except for me. Or, more disturbingly, that my departure had fractured reality, leaving behind two paths, one for the man who left, burdened with memories and responsibilities, and one for the man who stayed, innocent and untouched by the outside world. I spent countless hours in the dim light of dusk, confronting my other self in the park. We spoke in hushed tones, our conversation a surreal blend of regret, longing, and bewilderment. He asked me why I abandoned Maplewood, why I craved a future beyond the confines of a town that held an eternal charm. I couldn't answer. How could I explain that I had yearned for change, for growth, even if it meant leaving behind the security of home? His eyes held a quiet sorrow as he said, "Maybe you weren't ready, or maybe you forgot what truly matters. Everything here is still waiting for you." Eventually, the unsettling truth began to settle in. The town of Maplewood was not just a place, it was an echo of what could have been, a living backup of time where some choices remained unmade. My return had inadvertently opened a door between two realities, the one where I left to chase new dreams and the one where I stayed, untouched by years and change. It was as if the town had offered me a mirror to my soul, reflecting both my ambition and my lingering roots. But with that duality came an unsettling inevitability. If I continued to exist in both realms, which version of myself was real? Could I ever reconcile the man who had grown tired of the relentless pursuit of success with the boy who longed for the simple, steady passage of time? I wandered Maplewood trying to find answers, in the quiet conversations of the town's elders, in the fading graffiti on a wall, and in the silent company of my past self. Every moment was a reminder of the preciousness of time, and the sometimes painful choices that shape our destiny. In the end, I understood that while I could not merge the two versions, I could learn to live with both. Maplewood, with its timeless streets and unchanging faces, became a sanctuary of unresolved memories and gentle reflections. I began to see that maybe, just maybe, the version of me who never left was not something to be feared or resented, but a quiet reminder of where I came from, a foundation that the fast-paced world I left behind could never erase. Now, whenever I return to Maplewood, sometimes spending a night in that old diner or a lazy afternoon at the park, I catch a glimpse of that younger self in the reflection of the window, or a familiar laugh echoing through the streets. I've come to accept that I am a collision of two timelines, one filled with the relentless march of progress, and one cradled by the gentle persistence of home. And though I know I cannot change what has already been split apart by time, I can honor both parts of my journey. The town that remembers me as someone who left only yesterday will always hold a piece of my heart, as will the man I once was and the man I have become. I still get chills every time I see my reflection and wonder, am I the man who left 20 years ago, or the boy who never really left home? In Maplewood, time may stand still for everyone else, but for me, it's an ever-present reminder that our past is never truly gone. It lingers, quietly shaping the future we build.